At the Office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah and Matt.
Cleveland, welcome into the Office, the show where we talk all things sports. I'm your host, Noah. I'm joined by my co-host, Matt, and you can join us at the Office too. Comment on YouTube, Facebook, or X, or text the show. Call the show. You can call the show. There's a number right here. We'll put you right here live on the show if you'd like. 216-260-3433. That's 216-260-3433. Matt, buddy, how are you doing, man?
I'm wonderful. I'm excited. Got a big thing going tonight.
Look at us all cute, matchy for the national championship. The Cavs are at halftime right now, leading the Phoenix Suns. That's great news because the Cavs have been looking good despite losing horribly to the Thunder. Matt, what was your reaction to that Thunder loss real quick?
I mean, I was kind of surprised to see how ugly it was, given the fact that they were missing their bigs. But kind of like we've talked about a few times on the show, you're not going to win them all, and the Thunder's a very talented basketball team, so they have the capabilities to win them big. It just sucks it was against us. Yeah,
for sure. I'm with you. It's the NBA. It happens, unfortunately. But I was really amped for that game just for it to turn in to being absolutely nothing, you know what I mean, and us getting blown out. And I didn't even watch the full game. I think I turned it off in the third quarter. But that's neither here nor there. We have some really important stuff to get into. We're going to do our first Browns mock draft of the offseason. One last thing I want to ask you first, though, Matt, is what are your thoughts? You know, we've been doing on our other show, our Wednesday show with John and Eric, our predictions, thoughts, all of that with the college football playoff. Ohio State, Notre Dame tonight. What's your prediction, man?
Off the rip, my prediction is a 38-24 Ohio State win.
Why is that?
I'm very confident in the Ohio State offense, the way they've been playing in the playoffs. They look very good. I think our defense is one of, if not the best in the nation. There's a lot of good defenses, though I don't know if we're the best. On the other hand, though, you know, the national narrative has kind of been Bucks by a million for the last week and a half. And I also, nobody's given Notre Dame enough credit in my mind. I do think we're the better team on paper, but that Notre Dame defense is a lot better than people are thinking. And their DBs are going to come to play. And it's not going to be easy to throw for 300 yards against them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I said this on the show on Wednesday. It makes me a little bit nervous with how much it has been Bucks by a billion, Bucks have the spread, all of that. Still feel confident, but maybe it's the Cleveland sports fan in me a little bit that's nervous that we're going to go out there, shit the bed, and lose the national championship after what has been such a great run for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Listen, I could talk and be excited all day. We all know when to watch it. We all know when to tune in. Let's get into some of our Cleveland topics today because I think there's some interesting things we can get into, such as our first version of our Cleveland Browns mock draft. College football season ends today, so why not get into it with a mock draft? Matt, I had you give me your picks. I had my picks put together. I want to go through this. Are you ready, man?
I'm ready. Let's get into it.
Matt, give me your picks for the first round.
So the first round. Round 1, pick 2. The Cleveland Browns select Abdul Carter, defensive end, Penn State University.
So why do you have them taking Abdul Carter?
To be completely fair, this was, thrown out as a prompt with no trades. And I want to lead by saying I
rushed it. Give me a second. Let's throw up the rules. Mock draft 1.0 rules. We're doing 3 rounds, no trades. We used Pro Football Network's mock draft simulator and any of the unrealistic falls that happen. You know, I've had some weird players fall into the third round, second round, that kind of thing. They don't count because we're not going to be yep, we're going to get 2 blue chip prospects somehow, some way, when that's probably not going to happen unless something crazy happens. But, let's keep it, try to be, realistic. So back to Abdul Carter. Talk me through it.
I'm a big fan of, doubling down on what you're strong at to get elite at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think it's a lot harder, especially on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL, to build a very well-rounded defense. You're either going to build a very elite secondary, a very elite linebacking core, or a very elite defensive line, have them be game wreckers, and then be solid behind that or in front of that. But it's very hard to be, solid all the way around. So I think if you can double down, get a freak athlete like Abdul Carter, he's 6'3", 252, and has insane speed. You pair him up with Myles Garrett. Abdul Carter's a little new to edge rushing, so he can learn from Myles Garrett, learn some of the finer points, the techniques from him. And then they can become a dominant force that wrecks games for 15 years. Like I was leading with there, personally, I am a fan of trading out of the number 2 slot. I just don't think there's enough talent in that spot, and we can get something from that pick and get down to like 7, 8, 9 and still get the same level of talent. A little bit lower, but, not as big of a decline. I still think that's what we should do. If we're going to stick at 2, I don't think it should be a quarterback.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think Abdul Carter is the popular choice at this pick. I said it on the show already that I'm also a fan of Abdul Carter, but there has been a narrative going around about why we are so shy about quarterback and why we shouldn't go quarterback, like you said. So, in my version of this mock draft, with the second overall pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami. Now, I know the dichotomy, everything that's going on with this quarterback class right now. It's weak. Shador and Cam are not the guys that they would be in this draft, in terms of being top picks if it were any other year. Cam Ward, to me, has all of the intangibles of arm talent and awareness, understanding of the game to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. I've also been on record saying that if the Cleveland Browns think that their franchise quarterback can be in this draft, whether it be Shador or Cam Ward, you have to go get him. I get that there might be more talented players on the board, but we can't overthink ourselves out of a chance to get the next Jalen Daniels. People say that he's not here, but I'd argue that people didn't think Jalen Daniels was Jaden Daniels last year at this time, and look at what he is now. They're in the NFC Championship. I'm not saying Cam Ward is that guy. I'm not completely co-signing it, but round 1, mock 1, I'm taking Cam Ward because there is a need at quarterback at this team. And if the Browns think there's a guy here for them to get, they should go get it. Matt, what do you think of my pick, man?
I absolutely agree with if the Cleveland front office is sitting there and they think one of the guys is the guy, they need to get him. You're absolutely right with that. And kind of like you hinted at a little bit there, but more so deeply for me, I just don't see it in any of the top guys this year. But if the front office sees differently, they got to take their shot, like you were saying.
See, here's my thing, too. We're going back to the Kevin Stefanski level of scheming, right? It is a very in-system, in-rhythm type of thing for a quarterback to go into. It's not a lot of improvisation and extra thought process. We're talking play action. You have read 1, read 2, if not, get rid of the ball type of play. I think a guy like Cam Ward in his first couple years in the NFL could benefit from something like that because I think the talent's there to be one of these fantastic improvisation, Patrick Mahomes behind the back while he's falling with a broken ankle type of quarterback. But in his first couple years, as he continues to grow, as he went from Holy Name or whatever it was called, it was his first school, to now I'm going blank on it, Boston College to now Miami. As he's climbed the tiers of this could be the next step of his tier, is a Kevin Stefanski system where he gets the keys slowly and slowly. It's like he gets his driver's permit and then he gets the license. I could see it working out. Cam Ward's my favorite quarterback prospect in this draft. Browns need a quarterback. Fans are screaming draft quarterback online. So that's where I went. Matt, where are you at number 2? for round 2, I should say.
So in round 2, pick 33, the Cleveland Browns select Trey Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
So give me your background on this, man. I'm curious, Trey Harris.
He's 6'3", 210. Physical specimen. I will admit, before I get too deep into him, I only got him here in 2 out of the 4 mocks I did.
Mm-hmm.
So you might be able to consider this a little bit of a fall. He could definitely be gone.
I would give you credit, though, following the rules. 2 out of 4, that's a good thing. And, we're doing it without trades as well. And it's very easy to get back into the later rounds of round 1 if you're really in love with a prospect. You're talking maybe a 4th and your 2nd round pick to go up back into round 1. So I won't discredit your pick here. You're good. Keep going.
I've kind of followed him a little bit all throughout this season, just being a retired, washed up wide receiver myself. I like seeing freak wide receivers come through. He is elite at the point of catch. Everywhere you look up, his draft profile, one of the taglines is always vice grip hands. He doesn't drop the ball. He knows how to use his body to open up defenders and manipulate a defender into getting them where he wants them, to get around them or get past them. And he plays with a very heavy dog mentality of, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be the bigger man here. He reminds me a lot watching tape of Mike Evans. He's a little bit smaller than Mike, but the way he plays the game is just eerily similar to me. I honestly am really in love with him, and I would like to see Cleveland maybe even move up to get him like you kind of talked about.
For sure. I could see him being a good fit here. As you'll notice with the theme with my draft, I think going, and I'm very much there for best player available, but we have a lot of positional needs in this draft. And my round 2 pick, 33 pick, will make sense with that comment in a second. So with the 33rd pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select Ariante Irsay, offensive tackle, Minnesota. Big dude, big number 69, fantastic player. He has the size to be a tackle in the NFL. He has fallen down draft boards because of his, background in Minnesota, that kind of thing. I think he's a good fit here. I think with having a new coach from the Callahan coaching tree coming in here to teach him what to do, I think he is a great pick here at 33. He technically, in a lot of mock drafts, go a little bit later in the second. So maybe this is a trade back scenario where we get some more capital for the following years, or even in this year, if there's a lot of prospects we want to go after and really load this team with some youth. I just think he's a good pick here, a good potential starting tackle in the NFL. What do you think of my pick, Matt?
I mean, I like it. I absolutely agree that, we have some offensive line needs. And, it's kind of funny how you rolled that, because my next pick is addressing a very similar need. I mean, I think that's something we definitely have to look at this offseason. We're only getting older and less healthy at the position. It's time to bring in some new talent.
Yeah, I get you, Ben. That's kind of the thought process here. We'll see how things continue to shape up in terms of this tackle class, because a lot of the top tackles are projected to be guards right now. So will that mean for someone like Ariante Irsay, they move up a little bit because they look like a true tackle based on size? Remains to be seen. Really excited for the combine and when we can actually really get into what these prospects have to offer. Matt, what's your next pick, man?
So now we're moving into round 3 with the 67th pick in the NFL draft. The Cleveland Browns select Emory Jones, offensive tackle, LSU.
I like this pick here. I think he is another guy that could be and could climb the draft boards as things continue. Give me your breakdown on Emory Jones.
He's a very aggressive, powerful player. That one thing that, a lot of scouts seem to be blown away with is his over-aggressive first punch. Not over-aggressive, but a very powerful first punch. pretty much the biggest downsides I was finding on him was he needs to improve on his like footwork and fine tune his game and the little aspects of it.
Right.
He's a bigger guy, so he can kind of be running in mud a little bit at times.
For
But
sure.
those are all things you can work on in the NFL and NFL strength and conditioning, stuff like that. I could see him developing. I mean, look at how DeJuan Jones played into our team.
That was my exact example I was going to pull. If DeJuan Jones, who had some weight problems going into camp, ended up looking like a pretty solid left tackle before he got hurt, can make it work. I think we can make it work with a guy like Emory Jones, who does have some, being too bulky of concerns and that kind of thing. But I do like him as a round 3 value tackle. Anything else you got on my man out of LSU, or am I allowed to go to my 67th pick?
Let's hear what you got.
With the 67th pick in the NFL draft of 2025, the Cleveland Browns select TreVeyon Henderson, running back, Ohio State. Listen, I think this, and this isn't a shocking statement to make, but this running back class is deep for the NFL draft this year. A guy like TreVeyon Henderson, right here towards the beginning of the 3rd round, makes so much sense for a running back needy team like the Browns. Pair him up with Nick Chubb, let them split the carries, let him learn his own. He is a solid receiver. He has solid power. I mean, if you're an Ohio State fan, you know what TreVeyon Henderson brings to the table, and I think he would be a fantastic addition to a team that is going back to the play action, that outside zone, stuff that I could see Henderson doing extremely well with in the NFL. What do you think of my pick, Matt?
I have one question for you.
What's
and
up?
I don't know if you remember it or not. In this mock draft where you took TreVeyon, was Judkins gone, or are you taking
Judkins
TreVeyon
was gone. A lot of the time when I get, I'm watching like playoff football and stuff, I'll start doing mock drafts on my phone, just, keep myself entertained or, I don't know, whatever. 9 times out of 10, you'll see TreVeyon here at this spot. Judkins is gone. Judkins always typically goes, at least in terms of the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator, typically goes towards the mid to the end of the 2nd round. TreVeyon, 9 times out of 10, is there at this pick.
I absolutely love the pick. I mean, it's hard not to root for an Ohio State guy. And kind of talking about what we were just talking about, it's, filling an aging positional group with some new young talent that I think is very explosive and extremely talented.
I agree, man. Let's hear what your last pick in this mock draft is.
So, with the final pick we mocked, pick 93, the Cleveland Browns select national champion Will Howard, quarterback, Ohio State.
So give me your breakdown on this, man, because Will Howard, to me, is a very interesting draft prospect. And in another mock draft where I say I'd follow your route and take Abdul Carter 1st overall, or Mason Graham, one of these big names, Travis Hunter, Will Howard at this 93 spot makes a lot of sense to me. So I'm curious your breakdown on Will Howard, especially as a Buckeye fan, because I feel like we've had our ups and downs with him for sure.
And you know what? I'll start with that. We absolutely have, had our moments where I would rather have had a running back playing quarterback. That's not true. That's an exaggeration. But I think one of the biggest things he's shown, though, is the ability to rebound, especially against some of the best competition he's played. He goes out and doesn't look great against Michigan. Granted, nobody did. And now he's lighting up the playoff field.
Yeah.
He's underrated in terms of accuracy and arm power, in my opinion. He doesn't have a super cannon arm. He's not throwing the ball 85 yards, but he can zip it in there. And he is very accurate. I don't think he gets enough credit for how accurate he really is.
I like him as a solid developmental, bring him in, don't expect much out of him right away type of piece. Almost a DTR, but at a more premium draft position with a lot more upside, right? Will Howard has had an illustrious college football career in terms of what he did at K-State, what he's doing at Ohio State right now. He actually has more wheels than you would expect as an Ohio State fan, because we don't run him as much as K-State did. So he has some improvisation ability there to get out of the pocket when things collapse. I like Will Howard as a prospect in this draft specifically because of how weak the class is. A guy like this has the size, has some arm talent, not the best arm talent in the world, has improvisation skills. Bringing him in and pairing him with Tommy Rees, I think could make a lot of sense for a Browns team that I think would cater to his abilities in a way that other teams in the NFL would not.
Yeah, I think you're dead on with it there. He would fit kind of the old Kevin Stefanski system pretty well, I think, and kind of be able to mold both ways the system to him and himself to the system. And, I wouldn't be a day one step in and take us to the NFC Championship pick. Or the
You
AFC
just said
champion.
NFC,
I
AFC.
got it.
Good job,
Yes.
asshole. Anyway.
All right. But yeah, I think, like you said, this would be a pick we make if we know we're bringing in a veteran quarterback or somebody through free agency. Like, maybe you bring in a little competition, but also who knows what he does and if he could be the future.
Something like this goes back to what we've talked about with quarterback. A Will Howard, Kirk Cousins, Kyle Trask conglomerate at the quarterback room, I think could make some sense. And you could grab a veteran, and I mean veteran as in they've been in the league already, that is higher than Kyle Trask, for example, a Jacoby Brissett or what have you, and have that be your quarterback room. But if you're going that route in terms of quarterback, I think it makes sense. I'm going to go into my final pick. We are having some fun with this one, but it's going longer than I expected, and I'm totally okay with that. Mock drafts are my shit. With the 93rd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Josiah Stewart, edge rusher, Michigan. One of the better defensive lines despite the record in the NCAA last year. I think this is a good guy to add to the room of young, defensive line edge rusher talent, such as Mike Hall, Alex, what's his name? I can't remember right now. The dude from USC not USC, Central Florida, UCA. Now, regardless, there's a plethora of young talent in this room, and bringing him in and having him be a part of what we have going on here could be a fantastic addition in a later draft category. What are your thoughts on this pick, man?
I absolutely agree. I think the Michigan defense, as much as I hate to admit it, has been, one of the most underrated units all year because they didn't have a successful season. But I think there's a lot of guys all across that defense, including Stewart, who will be impact guys in the league for sure, whether it's a rotational impact or whatnot. And I think, this kind of agrees with where I was thinking with Abdul Carter, just not on, a superstar level of
right.
Get what we're good at and get elite at it. So I love it.
For sure. Listen, we're going to take this thing to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little, a couple quick hits of what we got going on with the Cavs as well as the Guardians. You're listening to At the Office, or watching if you're watching the YouTube version. We appreciate you at the Office CLE. We'll be back after these commercial messages. And we are back at the office talking all things Cleveland sports. Please, don't forget to hit the subscribe button or hit the download button if you're listening to the audio-only version of the podcast. Also, drop us a comment whether you're watching the live show or the uploaded show after the fact. We'll get back to you. We love interacting with the people who are watching our videos and listening to our podcast. Check out our merch store at the Office CLE. Matt, come get your damn merch. It's been 3 weeks now. At theofficecle.com. Lastly, shout out Bands for Sports Network for everything they do in supporting us. Matt, trade rumors were going wild online because it came out that the Cavs were interested in one forward, Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets. What do you think about adding someone with the heat that the Cleveland Cavaliers are right now? And what do you think of Cam Johnson as a basketball player? I open the mic to you, man.
So to answer the first question, I think if we have the opportunity to add a player that can help the team, it's a no-brainer to do it. I feel like that doesn't really need me to say that to anybody listening to this. So, I mean, obviously, if we can add a dynamic, explosive player to our roster and not make the roster worse in doing so, there's no reason not to. I think Cam Johnson could be a very good addition to this Cavs roster. However, I would be heavily against a trade for Cam Johnson right now.
Why is that?
As of, roughly 4 or 5 hours ago, you start to do a little research into, the trade rumors and all that flying around. And it sounds like they've just been constantly upping and upping their asking price for the man.
Yeah.
And I don't want us to get into a point of, sorry. I don't want us to get into a point of a bidding war against ourselves or the other team and we end up way overpaying because of the start of the year we've had. I just don't want to burn our future to go all in on 1 year when we're kind of in the first year of what I feel is a window,
Yeah, I get you, and I'm with you 100% on that, actually. I don't want to sell the house for Cam Johnson. I think this team has shown the gel and the ability to already be an NFL. I'm still got the draft on my mind. NBA Finals team. So for me, I don't personally want to do that, but if the asking price is doable, say we're giving up the next first round pick we can give up because of the Donovan Mitchell trade is our 2031 first round pick. Say it's something like that, or some second rounders, maybe one of the back end bench guys like a Craig Porter Jr. or something like that. Totally fine with it. But I don't think we're getting Cam Johnson at that price. So if it's for a lot of value, I would rather just keep what we have intact instead of trying to add another guy to this roster. I think he's a fantastic fit for the Cavs starting lineup, which is something I like about him. I think he would for sure be able to help us continue to move in a direction of winning a championship. But at what cost is it really worth it to add a guy like that is the question here. And it seems to me, and it seems to you, based off of all the rumors we've both seen, the cost is going to be way too much. What else do you think about him, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. And Barry in our comments there hit it right on the head. If it's not broke, don't fix it, Like you said, too. We've been one of the best teams in the league. We're in no spot that screams we need to make a move. But if one opens up, absolutely attack it, is kind of how I'm thinking about it.
I'm with you 100%. Real quick, Tim Lyon said mock draft already. Tim, we're both sitting on our couch out of the playoffs. Of course, we're mock drafting already. It's the last day of the college football season, so we did just finish up our mock draft before our commercial break. Matt, I agree with you, everything with Cam Johnson. The thing to note here is that the Cavs were the ones expressing interest in Cam, and I think that makes it more interesting. So it really comes down to, the value, the trade value that they want out of him. And if it's anything more than like our 2031 first, some seconds, and a back end bench player, I'd rather just keep everybody intact, and that's just me. Anything else you got on Cam, my man?
No.
Perfect. The last thing we have going on is Progressive Field had some renovation updates. I just wanted to touch on this briefly because it was being talked about on X, on Instagram, everywhere. So I wanted to show this tweet, give some credit to Michael A. Collier. Looks like some of the upper deck seating at Progressive Field will be forming the Diamond C. So for those who are listening and not watching, it's the direct behind home plate in the upper section. So the 500s of Progressive Field. There's a little C that's going in the seats. Matt, how do you feel about that design direction?
I don't hate it. I think it's so much of a missed opportunity to do like CLE or Cleveland or, something a little more than just one letter. But
well,
hey, anything to give the stadium
the Dolans, man. They can only afford the C. They can't afford the L and the E. That's an extra set of ordered seats that they can't afford. And we're already spending too much money on the seats, so we're not adding adding some players to win a championship this year. Come on now. Can you tell that the Guardians news has been slow lately, that we're talking about the renovations of the stadium? I do think it's interesting. I'm excited to see the upgrades in person because the upgrades from 2023 to 2024 were super cool to see in person. And I think 2024 to 2025, when the whole project's tied together, is going to be even more awesome. Have to give the Dolans a little bit of shit there just because. Also, I couldn't find a picture, but I was actually in the parking garage, connected to the Q and Progressive Field yesterday. And you were able to see over where they had the Guardians banner, where that bougie club with the glass fittings used to be. That looks like it's getting close to being done. I'm really excited to see what that looks like and to see if people like me and Matt could ever get in there just to see what it looks like. So really excited to see what happens with the Guardians Stadium, and hopefully they spend some goddamn money. Right, Matt?
Ideally, but we both know it's not going to happen, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
Let's go to final thoughts, hot takes. What are you feeling to wrap up our show, my man?
If Ohio State wins the national championship by 100 points and we wake up tomorrow to news that Ryan Day is fired, I will still be the most excited man on the planet. There's nothing he can do to save his job in my mind.
Wait. You're still on fire Ryan Day if we win tonight?
Absolutely.
Why?
He's not a good coach. He's got the best roster in football. If he wins a
national championship, I think that constitutes being a good coach, Matt.
He's got the best roster in football. I mean, yeah, cool. He won a national title.
That's insane. And I feel like you're just trying to rage bait me right now. So I'll go to my final thought. Okay, whatever. I'll go to my final thought and take. My final thought and take is the same final thought and take I've had for the last 2 weeks. Because damn it, it is the last day you can go vote for the Cleveland Cavaliers to go to the NBA All-Star Game. We have all 4 guys on the leaderboard, and I want to see all 4 of their beautiful faces. The fro, I can't come up with one for all 4 of them. I want to see the fro there, and he's the lowest on the board. So get the fro into the All-Star Game. Go out, vote. Last time you can do it. And just a reminder to all the people who are watching our show, we are doing a Donovan Mitchell jersey giveaway. Want to win the jersey? All you got to do is follow us on X, YouTube, and Instagram. If you repost any of the posts on X, I'll give you an extra entry as we try to continue to grow the show and give you guys some dope stuff as we can and as we see fit. Matt, you got anything else for the people real quick? Barry says, come on, dude. Bad coach, LMAO. Tim Lyon says, go Irish. Me and Tim have a $50 side bet on this game. So go Bucks, baby. Matt, what else you got? Anything for the people?
O-H. That's all I got.
I-O, baby. Thank you for joining us at the office. If you're listening to the audio-only version of our show, remember to subscribe or hit the download button. Check us out on all social media. You can see it above right here at the Office CLE. TikTok is no longer banned, so go check out some of our clips, some of our vlog content over there. Lastly, shout out Fans First again for everything they do in helping support us. It has been a lovely day. Have a great day, night, whenever you're watching. And until next time, Cleveland, stay up. Peace.